Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Hello Word. My name is Alex and I am thrilled that you are joining me for a wonderful exploration of practical English words and phrases that revolve around daily life events. Today, we have a very special theme that focuses on the world of work, particularly when you are looking to apply for a job, attend an interview, or simply understand the essential concepts related to building your career. Whether you are preparing your CV, chatting with a personnel officer, or arranging your application documents, this episode will help you gain the confidence you need to speak naturally and comfortably in English. Together, we will uncover the meanings behind these key terms, illustrate how to use them in everyday conversations, and provide you with helpful examples that you can adapt to suit your personal needs. In addition to breaking down each term in detail, I will also offer some tips on how to memorize new words and practice them in realistic scenarios. These tips can be as simple as repeating words out loud, writing your own sample sentences, or talking with friends and colleagues whenever possible. Learning English does not have to be complicated if you approach it as an exciting adventure in communication. By the end of this episode, you will have a clearer understanding of the vocabulary featured in the world of work, and hopefully you will feel more assured and ready to hold engaging conversations about job applications and career topics. Now, let us dive into the crucial terms you see in the image and start unraveling their definitions and uses in daily life. A job interview is a formal meeting where a potential employer and a candidate get together to discuss possible employment. During a job interview, the interviewer typically asks questions about the candidate's skills, background, and professional experiences to determine if they are a good fit for the role. In daily conversation, people often say things like, "I have a job interview next week," or "I need to prepare for my job interview," by practicing common questions. This term is very common whenever someone is looking for a new opportunity or hoping to change career paths. You might also hear phrases like, "My job interview went great," or "I am feeling a bit nervous about my job interview." All these expressions convey excitement, anticipation, or even anxiety about the possibility of being hired. A personnel officer is someone in charge of handling various employer-related matters within an organization. In many workplaces, you might hear references to this position when you have questions about contracts, benefits, or job responsibilities. A personnel officer helps manage recruitment, training, and can be one of the key individuals to contact when you are seeking clarification about work policies. In daily conversations, people might say, "I will talk to our personnel officer about the new hires," or "the personnel officer can explain how our vacation days work." This role is sometimes referred to as a human resources officer or HR officer, but the core function is the same: assisting employees and ensuring the smooth management of staff affairs. A CV, short for curriculum vitae, is a detailed document that outlines your professional and educational history. It typically includes your full name, contact details, educational background, work experience, skills, and any notable achievements or awards you have earned. In daily conversation, you might say, "I need to update my CV before I apply for that position," or "Would you mind reviewing my CV to check for errors?" When someone mentions a CV, they usually mean a comprehensive summary of their qualifications. For job seekers, a well-written CV is critical, as it can greatly influence the impression you make on a potential employer. Phrases like "my CV is out of date" or "I must tailor my CV for a specific position" are commonly heard among those actively searching for work. Application documents generally refer to any papers or electronic forms you submit when seeking a job or academic position. These documents commonly include your CV, a cover letter, transcripts, reference letters, and any additional proofs of qualifications or identity requested by the employer or institution. You might hear someone say, "I have all my application documents ready to send in," or "I should double-check my application documents for errors before submitting them." It is also typical for companies to specify exactly what application documents they require, so always pay attention to the instructions in a job advertisement. In everyday speech, you might use it in contexts like, I am waiting for my reference letter to finalize my application documents. An applicant is a person who applies for something, usually a job, scholarship, or other opportunity. For example, if you submit your resume and cover letter to a company, you become an applicant for that particular role. In everyday conversation, you might say the company is reviewing all the applicants, or I am one of several applicants hoping to get an interview. You could also hear it used as everyone applying for the position is considered an applicant, or the applicant pool is very competitive this year. The term is quite straightforward, indicating anyone who is in the process of submitting an application to be considered for a specific opportunity. A job application is a formal request by a candidate to be considered for a position within an organization. You will often see the phrase "fill out a job application" when visiting a company's website or platform for potential employment. In conversation, you might say, I am completing a job application for a sales position, or I sent in my job application last week. The term can also encompass any method used to convey your interest in a job, whether it is filling out an online form, sending an email, or mailing physical documents. You might encounter phrases like, let me check on the status of my job application, or I wonder how long the job application process will take. A job advertisement is an announcement or notice that a company posts to attract potential candidates for a vacant position. In modern times, most job advertisements appear on digital platforms, but they can also be found in newspapers or on bulletin boards. You might hear people say, I found a great job advertisement online, or the job advertisement mentioned 5 years of experience as a requirement. In conversation, it is common to share job advertisements with friends or colleagues, such as, I saw a job advertisement that might be perfect for you. Sometimes, job advertisements include details about the role, required qualifications, and how to apply, making them a key resource for anyone seeking work. Temp work refers to temporary employment or short-term positions. It is often arranged through a staffing agency or a direct contract with a company for a limited duration. In daily conversation, you might say, I am looking for temp work while I finish my studies, or I took some temp work for a few months to save money. People choose temp work for various reasons, such as flexible scheduling, a need for short-term income, or an opportunity to gain experience in different fields. You might also hear phrases like, the company hired extra temp workers for the busy season, or I am only in a temp role until they find someone full-time. A permanent position is a job with no predefined end date, implying that an employee will continue working for the organization indefinitely, as long as both parties agree and the role remains necessary. In daily speech, you might hear someone say, I am looking for a permanent position that offers stability, or I was hired on a temporary basis, but they offered me a permanent position. This term signifies long-term employment with added benefits, such as a clearer career path and opportunities for advancement. People often discuss permanent positions as a way to gain security and more substantial benefits compared to short-term or temporary roles. For example, you might say, my main goal is to secure a permanent position in my industry, or they finally gave me a permanent position after my probationary period. A career is the overall progression of a person's professional journey. It includes the different positions, achievements, and skills gained throughout one's working life. In casual conversation, you might hear someone say, I want to build a successful career in marketing, or she is making a big career change by going back to school. A career is not just about earning money. It is also about personal growth, satisfaction, and long-term goals. People often chat about their career hopes, like, my career path has taken me from sales to management, or my career goals include managing a large team one day. It is a broad term that captures everything about your professional life, from your first job to your ultimate retirement. To apply for a position simply means to officially submit your interest in a job or role within an organization. This usually involves sending your CV, cover letter, or other relevant documentation to the hiring manager or through an online portal. You might hear a friend say, "I am going to apply for a position at that new startup," or "I have not decided where to apply for a position yet." The phrase can also come up in questions, such as, "Have you applied for the position yet?" or "Are you going to apply for a position with that company?" Using this term shows that you have taken the first step toward entering the selection process for a job. Working conditions describe the environment, rules, and benefits that come with a job. This includes aspects such as safety, hours, salary, and even the culture of the organization. In everyday conversation, people might say, "I need to learn more about the working conditions before I accept the job," or "the working conditions in that factory need improvement." It is also a common term in labor discussions, where employees or unions might negotiate better working conditions for staff. Sample sentences include, "The company offers excellent working conditions with good breaks and benefits," or "I decided to leave my job because the working conditions were not acceptable." Shift work involves performing your job duties in rotations, which could include daytime, nighttime, or weekend hours. Many industries that operate around the clock, such as healthcare, hospitality, and manufacturing, rely on shift work to ensure there is always coverage. In conversation, you might hear people say, "My shift work schedule alternates between days and nights," or "I have shift work at the hospital, so my hours change every week." Sometimes, shift work can be challenging because it can disrupt regular sleeping and eating patterns. However, some employees enjoy shift work because it allows them to have flexibility in their personal time. You could also say, "I cannot meet you tomorrow morning because I have shift work at that time," or "I get additional pay for night shift work." Part-time work refers to a position in which an individual works fewer hours than a typical full-time schedule. In casual conversation, you might say, "I have part-time work on the weekends," or "She decided to take a part-time job to have more time with her family." Part-time roles can be found in a variety of fields, ranging from retail and hospitality to office support. The phrase is commonly heard when discussing student jobs, secondary income, or flexible schedules. For instance, you might say, "I am looking for part-time work while I study," or "My part-time work schedule allows me to pursue my hobbies during the week." People who do not want the responsibilities or time commitments of a full-time job often prefer part-time positions. Full-time work typically means working a standard schedule of hours that the company considers normal for its permanent staff. This usually results in more consistent pay and benefits than part-time work. In everyday conversation, you might say, "I am moving from part-time to full-time work next month," or "My full-time work takes up most of my weekday hours." Full-time positions are often seen as more stable, offering added perks such as health insurance or paid time off, depending on the country or employer. If a friend is searching for employment, you may hear them say, "I am hoping to find a full-time position that matches my skill set," or "I cannot juggle two jobs, so I need a single full-time job." A probationary period is a trial phase where a new employee is closely evaluated by the employer to see if they are a suitable fit for the company. This period can last several weeks or months, and during this time, the employee's performance, attitude, and compatibility with the team are assessed. In conversation, you might hear, "I am still in my probationary period, so I need to be extra careful about my attendance," or "My probationary period ends next month." During this time, either party can usually end the employment contract more easily if it is not working out. People might say, "The company can choose to extend the probationary period if they feel I need more time to prove my abilities," or "They promoted me after I successfully completed my probationary period." Salary is the regular amount of money an employer pays a worker in exchange for their services, typically expressed as an amount per year or per month. In everyday conversation, you might hear I receive my salary at the end of each month, or I negotiated a higher salary when I switched jobs. Salary is a key concern for many people when seeking a job, as it directly affects their financial stability and planning. You might say I am happy with my current salary, or I wish to find a new role with a more competitive salary. It is also common to discuss salary with friends by saying something about this job is great, but the salary is not enough for my expenses. To hire somebody means to offer a person a job and bring them into an organization as an employee. You might hear an employer say we are looking to hire somebody for the sales department, or we decided to hire somebody with more experience. In everyday speech, people might say I hope they decide to hire me, or the company wants to hire someone as soon as possible. You can also use this phrase in casual contexts, such as my neighbor wants to hire somebody to do some gardening, or we plan to hire somebody to help with the event. Ultimately, it describes the act of recruiting and officially employing a person to fill a specific position or perform certain tasks. Now that we have explored these important English words and expressions related to the world of work, I hope you feel more prepared to handle conversations and applications involving career steps, interviews, and long-term employment decisions. Remember that learning new vocabulary is only the first step. The key to mastery is practice, repetition, and placing the words into real-world contexts. The more you read about these topics in articles, watch discussions on business or professional programs, or try to use these terms in casual chats with friends, the more comfortable you will become. Think of your learning journey as a steady climb, where each new word adds another layer of confidence to your speaking and comprehension skills. Before we conclude, I want to thank you all for tuning in and spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode of Hello Word, be sure to follow and subscribe so you will never miss a new show. Leave us a review and let us know which words helped you the most or which topics you would like to explore in future episodes. Your support and feedback matter a great deal to us and help guide our upcoming content to fit your needs. Again, this is Alex signing off, wishing you an insightful and productive week. Keep learning, keep practicing, and I will see you on the next episode of Hello Word.